Yo guys, what's going on? Got a Megidramon deck out profile for you guys today. This is definitely more of a fun deck rather than maybe something that's like super competitive, but you can pull off some really crazy combos with this guy with Omnimon Zwart and then of course Mega Digimon Fusion. So as you can tell by the title, the goal of this deck is to deck your opponent out, provided you do get the right setup. So it's a very cheesy and a very fun deck. But yeah guys, let's go ahead and get into it. So, of course, for your Digieggs, I'm playing what I think is the best lineup for purple Digieggs is the 1 copy of Xiaomon and then the 4 copies of Demi-Meramon. Demi-Meramon is great just because he helps you cycle through your deck, and this deck, more than any other, really needs to get to its combo pieces because your win condition is basically just one thing. You deck your opponent out. You're not really trying to control the board state. You're not really trying to spam a bunch of Digimon on field. It's really as just simple as frustrating your opponent with deck out. So, on that note, a lot of the lower level Digimon are going to be more consistency cards and really just helping you build up into your bigger play. So, of course, 4 copies of Tapirmon, one of the best rookies to just throw down and chuck at your opponent's security because you get to draw 1 card on deletion. And then basically that same idea, but just in an inherited effect, is Gabumon. So 3 copies of Gabumon. I really like him because you get to draw 2, discard 1. Of course, you do need to evolve him into a champion or ultimate or whatever, but this is really nice. These cards really help out with the consistency of this deck because, as you can imagine, this deck is very, very breaky. Alright, please be warned. 2 copies of Tsukaimon, 2 copies of Gazimon, and then these guys are really just more like utility cards. This guy's really great just to help you gain memory because a lot of times you're crashing into your opponent's security or something, maybe to draw off of the Demi-Meramon, but this guy is, of course, just really good counter pick to a lot of decks. Cards like Hammer, Spark, Blinding Ray, really you don't want to let your opponent get off. And then 2 copies of Devimon to round off the rookie count. I like this guy just because at 3 memory you can like play him, Digivolve into a 1 cost champion, and then like go into a Lady Devimon or something and cycle through your deck. So I really like having 2 copies of the vanilla as to round off the rookie count. And then for the level 4s, I am playing 4 copies of the blocker Devimon. So this guy's really good, one, because he is a blocker, but of course also because he's got that nice 1 cost, unlike stuff like Vilemon. And then you're also playing another very cheap level 4 to evolve, 3 copies of Meramon. Again, these guys are just really to help you build up quickly, and, just evolve into 1. And then, of course, 3 copies of Devimon. I really like this card in this deck because Megidramon, of course, has an awesome on deletion effect. So pairing this with something like a Megidramon, or maybe even like an Omnimon Zwart after you've attacked and your Zwart is suspended, helping you like deter your opponent from attacking over it with Lord Nightmon, or just punishing them for not respecting the fact that you're playing purple, not putting up blockers on the field so you can swing into their bigger Digimon with this guy. And then, of course, triggering stuff like Gabumon, who is really good with Demi-Meramon. So sometimes you can swing with this guy and then draw like 3 cards. So it's really, really nice. And that's actually it for the level 4 count. The deck space is super tight, but I just capped it at 10 4s. So then for the level 5s, probably one of the best cards in the entire deck is 4 copies of Lady Devimon. Lady Devimon helps with the consistency of this deck so much because on Digivolve you get to draw 2, discard 1, and then of course you're also drawing for the Digivolution, so that's 3 cards cycling through. And then of course if you've got Takumi on field as well, that's an extra card as well. So this is just really fantastic. The second effect comes up occasionally because you are playing a lot of option cards in this deck. Well, maybe not a lot, but you're playing a very essential option card. So triggering this is pretty cool sometimes, maybe to get rid of something like a Gazimon or Terriermon on your opponent's side of the field, or some other problematic rookie that you really just don't want to deal with. And then for the other level 5s, playing 2 copies of Chimeramon because of course I am playing Omnimon Zwart in this deck, so I think this guy is really, really great in tandem with that. And then 2 copies of Blackwater Growlmon. This guy isn't super essential in this deck. You do get his Digiburst effect off of sometimes, but you're really just playing him because he's really fantastic to bring back with Zwart. Got an awesome inherited effect, and then he's just this overall solid level 5. But yeah, so also not playing Chaos Gallantmon in this deck, so this guy isn't super essential, but that is going to do it for the level 5s. You could potentially swap him out for maybe a Skull Meramon or a Vajramon or something. Now, this is where we get to the spice, alright? So for the level 6s, I'm playing, of course, 4 copies of Megidramon, one of the great four great dragons right here. So this guy is super, super powerful. First of all, he's a purple Digimon that can also Digivolve from a red, which is really cool. But his effect is both players trash the top 5 cards of their deck whenever you Digivolve him. So that's also not once per turn, by the way. But anyway, so you're basically, your goal is to just Digivolve him, you trash your opponent's top 5, and then if he does end up dying, you get to play a Gallantmon from your trash or hand if you do have a tamer on the field, and you are playing a lot of tamers in this deck, so that effect is going to proc many times, but the main portion that you're abusing is really the first effect. So Megidramon is really, really cool for that reason. And then to go with him, of course, I'm also playing 1 copy of Red Gallantmon. Now, why not Chaos Gallantmon? Because Chaos Gallantmon is also a purple level 6, so you can evolve him if you don't end up like drawing Megidramon first. This guy is really, really insane late game, especially because Megidramon is filling up the trash. So if you've got your opponent to like 10, 20, 30 cards in trash, and then you go into this guy, that can potentially like win you the game. You can swing at your opponent's security, and then potentially if they've only got like 1 security card left, he can end the game by himself. So that's actually really, really fantastic. So Gallantmon, I think, is just really awesome. And then I'm playing a couple other purple level 6s. I'm playing 2 copies of Lilithmon. Now, honestly, you might as well like play like vanillas for your other level 6. They're really just a supporting role to this guy. This is the main focus of the deck. I chose Lilithmon because 1, it's a 3 evolution, and then 2, because you are playing option cards in this deck, activating Mega Digimon Fusion and then gaining 2 memory is like super broken, especially because you can like kind of loop it with Lilithmon, hence the Lilith loop term that a lot of these types of decks have like adopted. But so Lilithmon's really cool. I could definitely see like something like Chaos Gallantmon or Anubismon for like the rookie rush strategy, or like the rushing your opponent to death, basically. I just think Lilithmon is generally the best in most situations. But like I said, your main boss monster is Megidramon, and because you're playing so many consistency cards, I don't think it's necessarily like necessary to play more than like effectively 6 level 6s, and then of course the 1 Gallantmon. But yeah, that is it for the level 6s. And then for the level 7s, of course, playing triple copies of Omnimon's Wart. Now, 4 is definitely good. However, 1, the room in this deck is very tight already. 2, if you play 3, you brick less often. I really don't think you need 4, because if you're playing 4, you might as well play like 4 Mega Digimon Fusion. You'll need more White Tamers, etc. I think really if you resolve Zwart like once or twice, if you resolve twice, you're probably winning the game. If you resolve them once, you're definitely in a really solid position. But of course, like I said, you've got Lady Devimon, you've got Takumi, you've got so many cards that help you cycle through your deck, so I don't think maxing out on like everything is explicitly necessary in this deck. So we'll get to the combos like with this card. And then for the tamers, playing 2 copies of Matt Ishida for our purple memory tamer, and then 1 copy of Tai and Matt. I do like this because it is a white tamer, and then starting at 5 is really fantastic, of course, and then also maybe slowing down the game state, preventing your opponent from climbing into their level 6s as fast as possible. So this is nice for both those reasons. And then 3 copies of Takumi Aiba. Takumi is really, really fantastic for a couple reasons. Of course, he's a white tamer, so having 4 white tamers makes his deck much more consistent, because you do need Mega Digimon Fusion to pull off your combos. But then also, you know, you get to suspend him to draw a card every single time you evolve something. So go into Lady Devimon, for example. If you Digivolve into Lady Devimon, you'll draw 1 off Digivolution, draw 1 off Takumi, and then draw 2 off of her effect. But yeah, I just think he's that good for so many reasons. But yeah, so that's the tamer lineup. And then for the option cards, just playing 3 copies of Mega Digimon Fusion. This card is absolutely ridiculous. Basically, if you've got a white tamer on the field, you can just activate this. And what it says is that you can Digivolve into a level 7 Digimon for 0. Basically, next time you would do that, you reduce that memory cost by 6. So it makes it going into Zwart free. And then basically, you just go into Zwart, resolve the effect, and then combo off from there. And then at the end of the turn, it goes to the bottom of your deck, which is actually quite important for the combo. So that's going to be the list. So let me go ahead and show you guys how exactly the deck works. So for the basic loop, you need a lot of combo pieces, hence why you play so many draw cards, and even though this might seem very, very bricky, you can still resolve it somewhat consistently whenever you are playing this deck. So you'll need, of course, a white tamer on the field, you'll need like your level 5 Digimon either on the field or coming out of the breeding area, and then you'll need these 3 cards in hand. So what you're going to do, basically the combo goes, is that you have your ultimate, you'll Digivolve into Megidramon, draw your card, and then use the effect, mill the top 5, so let's go ahead and mill some cards here. It doesn't really matter what they are so long as you have a couple of ultimates in your trash at some point to bring back, or at least one bring back with the sword. So I'm going to put this random card over here. And then, you'll do that, and then you'll go into your Mega Digimon Fusion here, and then this lets you Digivolve Zwart for 0, and then, you'll draw your next card. And then you'll use his effect, mill 3 more cards. So you've milled 8, your opponent's milled 5 so far. And then you'll get to bring back 2 level 5 purple Digimon. So let's just bring back my Lady Devimons here. And you're still, this is all within like your turn. Ideally, you would like to have something like Matt on field to guarantee yourself 3 memory. But if you started with 3 memory, this is basically, this puts you at 0. So then you're going to go ahead, swing with Zwart. So you'll suspend him. Zwart's effect lets you add back Megidramon to your hand, regardless of if your opponent has a Digimon for you to blow up or not. And then what you'll do is you'll just evolve into Megidramon again, and then use the effect, mill 5 more cards. So you milled 10 off of your opponent's deck, and then at the end of the turn, Zwart will actually go to the bottom of the deck. So the crazy thing about this is, let's say you're doing this and it's towards late game, and like you've decked yourself out, and you've decked your opponents out, and then at the end of the turn, Zwart will go to the bottom of your deck. This will be trashed, and then you will win the game because you have cards left in your deck. You're not going to deck out, but your opponent has decked out. So that's one of the main things you're trying to aim for, is like decking your opponent out, and it doesn't really matter if you deck yourself out in the process with things like Takumi or Megidramon or whatever, because Mega Digimon Fusion returns that Zwart to the bottom of the deck. And this would be even more crazy, like let's say if you had 6 memory or something, you could Digivolve into another Megidramon like without passing turn. Like let's say you had your second Megidramon here, and then you like had another copy of Mega Digimon Fusion, you could do that even more. Like that's a lot to ask for, but it has happened to me a couple times. But that's the basic idea, is abusing these cards. And then basically, if you're resolving Megidramon multiple times, think about it, right? So each deck will start with 40 cards in deck because they have their 5 starting hand, 5 in security, and then most conventional decks will be digivolving multiple times per turn, so drawing 2-3 cards every single turn. So by the time you resolve this twice, your opponent's pretty close to decking out most of the time. And if you've resolved this multiple times and then go into Zwart and then bring back like your Lady Devimon or something and then go into again, that can be really, really devastating. But that's basically the gist of the deck. You guys can let me know how consistent you think it is. But yeah, guys, that is going to do it for the deck profile. Let me know what you think of Megidramon down in the comments below. Do you think this is a viable deck, or do you think it is doomed to obscurity and most likely left as like a table 500 thing? You guys can let me know. But anyways, guys, that's going to be the video. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.